So what's been going on with my layout? Well, I'll answer that right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry it's been a while. I know I'm not consistent with bringing out videos. I apologize. I can't promise it's going to get better than what it is, but I believe one of, if not my last video that I posted was of my HO scale layout, and well, there has been a pretty big update to it. So let me bring you back. Let me get you all the way back to the beginning of where this all started. I think it was about 4 years ago that I started to get into the hobby. It was during the COVID era. I was sitting at home, had nothing to do, so I started watching videos on YouTube and came across a few different channels of, model railroading. SMT Mainline was one of the first ones that I found. And I saw that he was refurbishing old, like 80s, 90s Tyco and Lifelike locomotives. And I remembered, yeah, you know what? I've still got mine from a kid. It's packed upstairs in a box and really hasn't seen the daylight in like 40 years almost. So I pulled those out and got them running and learned how to do a little maintenance. I never knew there was maintenance to do. I was like 10 years old and I ran them. Well, they've been sitting for 30 years or so. That's where it really started. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time to dust these off. I'm now an adult. I have adult money. I went out and bought myself the stereotypical beginner the beginner layout of a 4x8 sheet of plywood. And so my wife was like, there's no room. We like all the rooms in the house are filled up with stuff. We don't need you having another thing. And I was like, no, it's fine because this is on a 4x8 sheet. I can put it together, and then when I'm not using it, I can just sit up against the wall, tucked in behind the couch or something, and it can be hidden. And when I want to, I can pull it out. Well, that never happened that way. I ended up building. It was just a simple little oval. It had a small, I think, 4-track yard in it, and had one industry. It wasn't much, but it was my first layout. I learned a lot of stuff. And so about 2 years ago, I think it was, 2.5 years ago, I started building the other layout that I have shown on the channel now. Not to get mixed up with the one that's in the semi, that's an N scale. This layout that I had, like I said, I've showcased in other videos, at least one, was an 8x2 layout with no real space at that point, because like I said, nothing had really changed by that point. My wife was right. We didn't have the room. It sat on the dining room table. Thankfully, we didn't really have any events that needed to have the table. But anyways, we did get our dining room table back, but I was already using this one, so that one just kind of shoved off to the side. But anyways, so it was sitting down in the living room. Again, I promised the wife, I said, yeah, we'll just put it in here for now so we can, because it was getting cool. I think it was fall or something like that. I'm like, we'll just put it in here for now, and then that way the glue will set when, because I used the foam on top of the plywood, and it'll be all right. Just sitting here overnight. Overnight turned out to be about 2.5 years or so. So she was good. God bless her. She supported me. I don't know. We just celebrated our 23rd anniversary just last Wednesday. I don't know how she put up with me and my bull crap for that long, but God bless her, she has. And so the room I'm sitting in now, I wanted to use for the train room. It's the bigger of the two rooms that I've got. There was only one problem. I was already using it for my other collection, which is right above the layout. It literally went floor to ceiling. It's a 10 by 12 room, 12 by 10. I got a entry door there. There's a closet there. I got a window there. And floor to ceiling lights everywhere. There was no door. In fact, I even blocked out the entire window. It went floor to ceiling there. So it was actually a dark room for quite some time because there was no light coming in. And I was like, I've got it. I haven't really used this room. I really haven't used the lights. I didn't have a power supply in here. I'd bring it up every once in a while and just connect wires and that sort of stuff. And so I finally decided that it was time that went away. I had to remove about 60 light bars, full light bars, from this room and stick them out in the shed. But I wanted to keep some in here because it still is a hobby that I'm interested in, and figured that I could leave 3 rows of light bars in above the layout and just kind of pick and choose. It was really hard to pick and choose which light bars were going to stay, but I finally made the decision. And so with that, moved everything out of the room, including these lights. Everything came out and went to Home Depot. Bought myself the closest thing to sky blue that I could find. I believe it was Soft Cloud, and came back and painted the room and then moved everything back in here, or not everything, but moved the layout up here. And so now I'm going to get off of this little spinny bar stool that I got that decided works. It was just sitting in the garage doing nothing. I just got a little dizzy there. I'll get off of this and I'll do a little bit of a walk around with you. So, before I do anything else, I'm going to introduce you to the town, and don't mind my giant shadow here. It only helps the effect. I didn't know what to do with the closet area, aside from some storage up there, but I didn't know what to do here. I thought about using this for a yard, but that wasn't really going to work out too well. And so I thought, you know what? It'll be dead space. Why not throw the town in there? So that's what I'm doing. This is still progress, but I have to showcase. I bought the Broadway Limited Lightning Storm System. It's got the woofer there, and then it's got 2 LED strips that go in here, and I added the polyfilla. Not going to do any more. I like it being up in the corner there, like the storm is coming in at you. I've got to hide the wires still. I got some wires here from the light bars, but yeah, it took a little while to figure out how I was going to do this because it is a limited space. I think it was like 2 foot to that edge there by like 5 foot or something like that. So it was really kind of small, and I got so many buildings and I didn't know how to fit it in. And there were certain things like this motel that I wanted to put in, and the Ladder 8 Ecto 1 Ghostbuster Firehouse, and that one that's on fire. There's just a lot of things that I wanted to do in here, and realized that I quickly ran out of space. So I think I've got it pretty copacetic. I got the old town here, all downtown. I'm kind of thinking about throwing just a dead rail. In fact, I might make it my programming rail. That'd be a good idea. And just stick my TTC on there, which does have a broken whatchamacallit jig, but just kind of stick like a streetcar down there. Thinking about, I don't know. But yeah, so I've got, the downtown there, and then I've got the Shady Motel, and then I've got the different stages of town. This one's just building, and I've got the church, and I got the old burnt down brothel, and then just some houses there. So I figured that's a nice little cut. So now we'll come back over here to where I've got the switch for the overhead lighting. At some point farther down, it's not a big deal right now, I'm going to have some balance. I'm going to basically make a shelf on here coming down and attach these to the underside, so they'll be hidden. But right now, hey, you know what? That works. But I've got it all the way around. I'll probably have to add 1 or 2 over here or something like that. But right now, technically, you can only join 5 of these up. And I have 5 of these. And I got 1 of those. It hasn't caught on fire yet. But anyways, here is the original layout that I was talking about. Everything on that is basically the same. Move some of the trees and that sort of stuff. But basically, everything here is still the same as it was in the last video. Now, these vehicles, all 3 of these fire apparatus and the chief's car, they will eventually move over here to this scene, and I do want to put some LEDs and a smoke kit in there. But I joined it up. I also had this little line coming out of here, and I didn't want to lose this, but I almost thought, well, maybe moving it, because I just did not. This is not how I had it planned out at all, but it works. The industries are the same, but the placement is different. But had a bunch of dead room there, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to throw in a switch. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do here, but I had this building. This was another thing that I wanted to, because like I said, I got so many buildings, so I decided that that'd be a good little place. The driveway can be here, a road goes off that way, which would then go into the main town over on that side. So it's kind of a dead end, and he's got just like the one track for, box truck, or right now I've got an empty center beam in there. Not sure what I'm going to do in the back there yet, but as I come down here, I have a little bit of a yard. So I've got the one line coming out. It's a pass-through for the engine house. And I just threw down some plastic. I can't remember what that stuff is called now. But yeah, so anyways, it's a pass-through. So it comes along and joins into... Right now, I've only got the two lines in the yard. Eventually, I do want to add the rest of them in. It's just I didn't have the switches and all that sort of stuff. And the angle that it's at, I don't really like, because I lose a lot of room all of a sudden. So I've really got to take a look at trying to figure the yard out. But right now, it holds some trains that I can move, and then it just holds other stuff. This building here is going to be for the maintenance. I'll have a rip track here. This is the original yard office off of my 4x8. Had to keep that. So I got the main line. I've got two main lines. I've got the one back there, and then I got this one here that when it was just this section, this hardly ever got used. This little piece here never got used. There's hardly, I maybe stuck 2 cars on there just for storage, but... So it's really kind of nice now having the 2 main lines come across. This one comes into the yard, can access the engine house from either end. It comes along here. This will all be train yard. Not sure what I'm doing here yet. There'll probably be a train station, because I do have a train that I want to be able to run on here. I'll have all these kind of curve over this way and that sort of stuff. This here is your main office to the yard. And then we've got a crossover to the one industry that I have here. This here was another thing that kind of really set everything in motion at this point, was because at the last month, I think it was, went to a train show and had all these buildings here for one really good price. And I liked them, and I thought, you know what, I need to buy it. So, unfortunately, it does take up a lot of room, so it does kill, I could probably have about 7 industries in here if I wanted to not use that. But I kind of like putting it together like that and making it one giant industry, so I'm all right with that. So there's going to be a road right here to get to the train, or to the railway office. And then over here where the trucks will check in with the guard shack. And then they'll come over here and do... I've got another dock door that came off the backside. I'm going to stick it over here. At least have 2 truck height docks. Well, there's this one too, but it's got the awning. That's UPS, FedEx. But yeah, anyways, and that rail does go into that building. Or it will. Right now it dead ends there, but... be able to shove one there, and then I'll have 2 box cars here. So yeah, that's a good little industry, and I love switching this one out now, because I can bring a train in, and I've got a little runaround track. It works perfect, and bring it on in. And I've been playing with this end a lot more than this end at this point. So yeah, it's just the newness. Oh, and we can't forget, some people shun about having drinks anywhere near trains and stuff, I'm sure, but I had to get two little cup holders, because not on the track, on the layout. Beside the layout is fine. Of course, I got my skirting, but I'll do the same over on this side. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it on this side because, one, that'll take out light again. And two, the dog likes to go in there. I open the window. She sticks her head out the window. She barks at squirrels. Everybody has fun except for the neighbors. So I might just, maybe I'll take some curtains up to the sides or something. Just that way I can hide things under there. But that means I got to do some touch-up paint there. I didn't care. I just went down there. But yeah, so that is the layout at this point. What will happen is these lines will come off. I'm going to cut a diagonal here, come up to the door jamb or to the trim. And I'm going to have these two lines come off, and then I'm going to take a lift out bridge. I'm going to build a bridge because I'm too old and fat to crawl underneath. So lift it up, get it out of the way, but it'll be double track across here. I've got a seam that I've been building for a while. I've been trying to keep it under wraps, so I'm not even going to show it to you until it's done. It'll come through here. This will be filled up, and it will go to 1 track and 2 track. This one here will end there. I'll have a couple of businesses. I've got like a gas station. I might even move this beside the gas station. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's going to basically dead end there. The road to the town will come in through there somehow. But I'll have 2 main lines, and it will be a complete circuit, complete loop. And it's nice because I can be running an industry on, well, it'd have to be, well, this industry would be on the outside. Yeah, I guess all of them would be on the outside, really. While the inside track does a circuit where the tram just loop, 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 and I can work off of the other line simply because this here is where they would cross. That one will go that way. This one will be switched over to go this way. But, and then same with over here. These, you know, if I wanted to, switch them back and forth. But so that is the layout as of this point. And, yeah. And then, like I said, I've still got my lights up there, So everybody stay tuned. Not sure exactly when I'll have more of this layout because in fact, tomorrow I leave the house and go back to work after a few months off. And I'm not sure when I'll have more time to do anything in here. But when I do, hopefully I'll be able to remember to take video. I'm so out of the loop of making videos for YouTube anymore. Just, you know, years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, well, not 20, I guess, 2000, I don't know, the beginning of the YouTube era, I mean, I always had the camera on me filming everything, and now it's just like, I need to get that town completed before I can build this section, so I've really got to focus on doing that as my next go-getter, because as soon as I build this, I'm not going to be able to reach into the back and take care of doing all the scenic on that. So that's the next step. Once I do that, then I might build this section to get the track laid, and then that way everything is done, everything will work. Then I can worry about securing everything. But like I said, that's miles down the road. Who knows when it's going to happen. So with that, I will probably have some of my end scale in the semi. Might have some videos on that. That one's pretty much done. There's not much more that I can actually do to it, except for use it. So I might have some operational videos or something like that on that. I'm not sure. So yeah, we'll see where everything goes. But for now, you know, if you don't mind, if you want to, you know, keep up with what's going on with this layout, I ask that you subscribe. It means a big deal to me, as does everybody. So don't forget to click the notification button, so that way when I eventually do upload, you get the notification and you'll be able to be the first ones to see it. So I guess for now, happy railroading, and we will see you later.